all these little things that we enjoy through life, we should make time for it, and we should schedule them, because this is what makes us, go through the hardship of life.
Hey dancers, welcome to the show. I'm Julie, and I'm your host today on this episode of Broche Banter. I both own and teach at Broche Ballet, a virtual ballet school just for adults. Join us as we explore all things adult ballet. Today on the show, Mai joins me all the way from Saudi Arabia to talk about her journey with ballet. We talk about her passion for exercise that started way back when she watched Jane Fonda VHS tapes as a child, to how she created time for the things she loved while studying abroad for med school in London, and finally beginning ballet once she returned home to Saudi Arabia. Enjoy! If you're enjoying these stories of the wonderful adult dancers in our community, please help us keep the podcast going by sharing your story. Send us an email at hello@brocheballet.com to be our next featured dancer. Before we get to the show, we have a new segment called Broche Bites, where we'll talk about bite-sized ballet tidbits to give you something to chew on while you listen. For today's Broche Bite, we are going to spell out a popular combination in the center. In Grand Allegro, we often do this combination across the floor. Tombe, pas de bourrée, glissade, saut de chat. Now, if you type that directly into Google Translate, it says, do not fall, drunk, slip, jump, cat. But let's talk about what those words mean when we usually are referring to them in French. Tombe means to fall, spelled Tombe with an accent on that last E. Pas de bourrée is 3 words, Pas, which means step, De means of, and bourrée, Bourree, with an accent on that second to last E. Bourrée is often referred to as a beaded step, but colloquially also a drunken step. Glissade, Glissade, means to glide. And saut de chat is 3 words, Saut, like jump or leap, so, De, of, and chat, Chat, is cat. So tombe, pas de bourrée, glissade, saut de chat. If you've never done that combination before, be sure to check out our video on our YouTube channel that goes over those steps. Thanks for listening to our first Broche Bite. Now onto the conversation with Mai.
Welcome, Mai, to the show. I'm so excited to get to chat with you today.
Me too. Thank you for having me.
It's so fun to finally get to hear your story. So we've been Instagram followers for quite a while of each other, and now you're in our online studio. We just finished class together. That's why we have a little bit of a glow. We just finished dancing together in class online. And you are calling me from the other side of the world. Talk to me about where you're from, where you are right now.
So I come from Saudi Arabia, and right now it's almost 8 p.m., whereas at your side it's
11.
Morning 11, still. Yeah. So, but like thanks to the internet, like it seems like we are still in the same place, and we share same interest and have something in common that brought us together. Yeah, I mean, I've been following you for quite a while, and I've been fascinated by all the amazing work you put towards teaching adults to perform ballet and gain confidence and overcome the fear of being in ballet shoes or even pointe shoes. Yeah, exactly. So it's just calling yourself an adult ballet instructor has brought so much courage from me and I'm sure from other students to come forward and try your class, and maybe the name adult seems to be a little bit forgiving, so that it's okay, you're welcome to join, and just test yourself, no pressure at all, as long as you're having fun, you're getting a good workout, there is no commitment, no pressure whatsoever, And the most important thing is to enjoy, I think. So
yeah, it is very important. And I obviously agree with so much with what you just said. I think there's so much with being an adult dancer that's different than being a child dancer or a professional dancer, where we want to be better at this. We chose ballet because we love the purity of the art form and we want to improve and be better at it. But as you said, it's really important that we meet ourselves with kindness along the way, and that we go through this journey knowing that it's going to be a challenge and that we're doing it together, and that it's okay if it's not perfect on the first day, and it's going to get there one day, but like it's going to be a process along the way.
Exactly. Yeah.
You started recently though. You started ballet recently.
Yeah, I started only last year. So I don't know how like far back you want me to go into my story, but I was.
Why do you like ballet? What got you started? Have you been thinking about it since you were a kid? Did it just come to you as a whim? Why did you start?
So let's agree to something. Like there is always something magical about like ballet performances and ballerinas. So I'm sure like every girl has ever like dreamt of being on a ballet shoes at some point. So I grew up watching ballet shows, and I was like, oh my God, I really want to like, be in there. But as coming from my background, Saudi Arabia, at that point, like 30, maybe 35 years ago, or even like a bit less than this, physical education was not a part of the school curriculum. So I was not exposed to being physically active apart from going to the playground and playing with other kids. Nothing was taught to me at school. So only at like I'd say 7 or 8 I started like watching like random aerobics videos on VHS and like trying to like imitate it. And I think this is where I started to be familiar with exercising to the music.
Were they ballet?
Yeah.
VHS, like ballet related?
No. It's not even ballet related. Like old VHS, like Jane Fonda style aerobics.
From America, from like America.
Yeah.
In English? Were they in English or were they translated?
Yeah, they were in English actually.
Okay. Did you speak English at that point? Did you learn English from a young age?
I did not. I only started. I was doing a lot of like personal effort from my side, like listening to English songs and trying to translate words by word. But actual English, I have only got to learn at age, I'd say 12 or 13.
Fascinating.
Which at that point I had like a really good background about English, and I was like the best students like in the English class.
You've been listening to music and taking Jane Fonda workouts and like hearing the words, like the left foot, the right foot, like the anatomy maybe.
Exactly.
Funny.
Yeah, so that's it. And I finished school. Nothing major happened in regards with ballet or any other workouts or exercise. And then I went to medical school to another city, which was a little bit more open and than the previous village I was, living at. So I think I got more exposed to like different styles of workout. I was living in the dorms, and I formed my own circle of friends who like exercise regularly every day, and I was always leading like them in classes. So I think that's where I knew that I'm really passionate about exercises, especially to music. But still, like nothing happened like formally in that sense. I finished med school, and then I got to travel to London to do my postgrad. So I did the Master in Public Health degree, and I followed it with a PhD in epidemiology.
You've been in school for a long time.
Yeah. So like I only finished recently.
Yeah, that's a lot. I'm like just adding up the years in my head. Like this is a long time of schooling. Yeah.
Yeah. So while I was studying, I did exercise to music certification.
Oh.
And
in London? Was that in London?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like Zumba kind of?
So, exercise to music was something else, and then I followed it with Zumba class, Zumba certification, and I taught Zumba as a freelancer for quite a long time.
Wow.
And that was like my first passion. Like I'm still passionate about Latin music and Latin dance, Latin inspired dance. So yeah, and so I was like helping myself as a student, working as a freelancer, and then I followed it with other courses as well, sports related. But like Zumba and dancing had a special place in my art.
Wow. Did you teach in English? Did you teach Zumba in English?
I taught in English. Yes.
Was that hard? Was that hard to teach?
No,
by then you've been doing it for long enough.
Yeah, I mean, by the end of like med school, I was like fluent in English.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can imagine using different kinds of words in a different language would be complicated.
Yeah. But I mean, like, I think coming from the medical background made it like a lot easier for me to like get my head around like the anatomy of the body, which muscles are working, like how to, avoid certain types of injuries and stuff like these.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Are there any particular muscles that you find the most interesting when you're combining that knowledge with your dancing, where it's like engage whatever muscle that you find super interesting?
I can talk about actually the turnout muscle. I did not know that like these muscles existed even. Like, what is turnout? Like, what do you mean by turnout? Like for me, when I started ballet, like this seemed like a bit like, difficult to grasp. But then like, with time trying to, take different classes and, taking classes especially for like strengthening the turnout muscles, these muscles started to like appear, and I started to, feel them, and I was actually, I can actually work on them and make them stronger. Yeah. So
now that you've worked on them, can you name what you would call them? Like what would you call them in that grouping? I always love the anatomy myself, so I'm curious, like from your perspective, from combining the medicine with the ballet, like are there 5? Are there 8? What would you call them?
I think the muscles the most responsible for the turnout are the external rotators for the hips. So whichever group of muscle like that involves the glutes muscle, and I'm sure a lot of like very small tiny muscles. I can't like remember the names of them on the top of my head, but they are quite small, but they do a lot of work. Yeah.
I think you make an interesting point. I think when we start learning ballet, we think the turnout muscles are like mystical, or like these muscles that are hard to find or impossible to find, or some people have them and you don't have them, or they're like these weird magical muscles. But when you actually look at the anatomy, it's like, no, they're like actual muscles. Like you can strengthen them like any other muscle. If you can learn to bicep curl more, why can't you learn to turn out more or turn out better? You can actually like strengthen the physical muscle set that's involved.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So back to your story. So you're in London still. You're teaching for Zumba. You're in your postgrad. You're doing your all the remaining schooling. Did you stay in London after that?
No, I only remained in London whilst I was doing my postgrad. So that was about 6 years. After I finished, I came back to Saudi Arabia, with like so much passion for sports and dancing and exercise that I wanted to share with everyone. However, like, you know, I knew that teaching exercise is not my main job. It's my hobby. So to be honest, I had to, you know, choose whether to work in medicine or like teaching in epidemiology, or like devoting my time to exercise. And I didn't choose one over the other, but I realized that I can do both at the same time. So my full-time job would be teaching at the university, and like I'm able to still do freelancing if I wanted, or teach like few hours a week. That doesn't matter, but I still give the priority to my work as a professor in the university. So yeah.
And then you started ballet at some point in this process.
Yes. So I worked in a lot of dancing studio which offered in London, which offered zumba classes, and I've been to Pineapple Studio so many times, and I saw a lot of like dance classes going on like back to back all the time. And I used to see ballet in the schedule, and I was like, but I don't see any kids. Like, how come there are no kids? Like, there are still adults doing ballet. So, but it never occurred to me that I should try it, because I still had this like, not fear, but I'd say like a wall, or like fear of the unknown. Like, we all know that ballet is advised to be started at a younger age, because that's when your like joints are more flexible and you're like able to like teach them to do certain things. But what would I actually do in a ballet class? That seemed like, you know, didn't make any sense to me. What you know, it's funny because I had the opportunity back then to try, but there was like something in my head that told me like, maybe it's not the thing for you. Yeah, that's it. And then I came back, and only last year I was doing yoga at a yoga studio, and I saw some ladies coming out in their like leotards, and I was like, what were they doing inside in a yoga studio? And I realized that they were taking a ballet class with a different instructor. And I had a chat with the instructor, and she's like, yeah, please come along and you can like try. And I was like, are you sure it's not like too late for me to try? She was like, no, I think you're gonna have fun, you just come and try, and there's nothing to lose. So I did it, and I tried my first class with the little ballerinas. So I was like the eldest in the group, and like everyone else was between like 4, 5, 6 years. And I was like, oh, it seemed a bit, you know, a bit weird, but I got over myself, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna have fun, and I'm gonna enjoy and see what it is. And that's it. I got hooked, and I've been practicing since then.
So what else? What is it like what are dance classes like in Saudi Arabia? It's a whole different side of the world. Talk to me about what it's like in class. What kind of people are going? What's it like?
Cool. That's an interesting question.
Like, are people wearing leotard and tights? Are there men in your classes? Or what's it like?
So to start with, gyms normally are separate, like males and females are separated. So we can basically, for people who prefer to be modest, they can wear whatever they want. I mean, modest outside of the gym, so they can wear whatever they want inside the gym. So we, I mean, as adults, we have the option to wear leotards if we wanted, and or like just leggings and t-shirt. But obviously, leotards look so much nicer on ballet, so we choose to wear that. And yeah, I mean, like we have a really nice structured ballet class, and I think we use the RAD syllabus.
Yep.
The instructor used the RAD syllabus, so we usually start the class with rushing conditioning on the floor, and then we move to the bar, like warming up, and start the class normally as like you normally conducted, with pliés and tendus and whether développés or grand battement, depends on like the day.
Yeah. Is it 90 minutes? Hour and a half? Hour?
It's normally 60 minutes. 60 minutes class. Yeah.
Short. Oh, it's a lot to squeeze in.
I know.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So yeah, the instructor's been like talking about like extending it a little bit more, so we can like actually finish everything at this 60 minutes.
Right, I know, it's a lot. It's hard to fit a lot in 60 minutes, especially if you're doing floor conditioning and trying to get center work and all of that stuff. It's a lot.
Yeah.
So men and women exercise separately. So in ballet training, as a kid, at some point you have to learn partnering and dancing together. Is that happening for kids there? What's the situation there with partnering?
That's a really excellent question. I haven't really thought about it, but you know, the way I see it in the studio with kids, no, they actually never like mingle together and never learn to like learn partner dance.
So they're all separate. It's always separate.
I don't even think that a ballet for men exists here.
Oh, fascinating. Because I guess it would have to be a separate studio or a separate facility.
I mean, the concept of ballet hasn't been extended to the male exercise regime, if you know what I mean.
What do men do for exercise?
They do heavy lifting and CrossFit. I mean, the gentlest type of exercise that I've seen men do is yoga, to be honest, and that's it.
They have their own yoga.
So they're not really
separate.
They're
classes,
not really. Yes,
yeah.
Separate classes.
Yeah. Is ballet a part of the culture? Are there ballet performances? Do companies tour there and put on shows, or is it all sort of just like watching on YouTube, watching on video?
Not at all. It's ballet is completely new form of art in Saudi Arabia. So as I know, I've only started last year, but I know like the instructor I've been learning ballet with has started 6 years ago, and that was about the earliest, ballet kind of studio that was available in Saudi Arabia. And she only started with kids, like teaching in international schools, and that's it. And then I think she's like chose to extend it a little bit further to adults. And yeah, I mean, there's still a long road to come in terms of getting people more familiar with ballet, and that's like it's like adults can do ballet, and it's not only exclusive to children and young adults. So I think she's working really hard on like spreading that kind of awareness, if you know what I mean.
Do you talk to your friends about that you take ballet class? What do your friends and family think about taking ballet class?
The first response I get from them is like, do you actually can do that at this age? And I was like, yeah, you can, and you should all of you should come to the class at least once and try. It will, maybe one time is not enough to get like a grasp of the whole ballet experience, but it's still like it's a good first step. And then you just, by time you get familiar with the terminology, you get familiar with the positions and the muscles that you use. So and you actually, that doesn't mean like the first thing people associate with ballet is being on point,
right?
Which is not what ballet is. So I mean, ultimately that was like, you know, everyone's, you know, goal, but it doesn't have to be straight to the point.
Right.
Shoes, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. And it often isn't.
Yeah.
And I think there definitely is a big misconception where they say, oh, you can go up on your toes, or I don't have point shoes, or I can't come to class without. I'm like, you don't need point shoes for a while. We're good. You come in your socks for a while. It's fine.
Exactly. And you still work hard. I mean,
right.
Like on your face and physicality, you seem like really graceful and, you know, show this smile. But you're inside, you're actually really working hard and sweating and like struggling. So it's actually a really good workout for people who don't like high impact classes. Yeah. Type of workout. Yes.
Right. Do you still take Zumba and other kinds of just like more dance workout classes, or are you mostly ballet now?
Right now I'm focused with ballet because I just enjoy it, and there's an amazing sensation I get when I'm like hearing the piano and you know, moving to the music. I just feel like I was like taken out of this world and put into a fairy tale, and you know, just living like my dreams and like everything I want to accomplish or achieve in that hour. And then like, you know, after finishing the class, I was like, okay, back to reality, but with with completely, you know, transformed spirit and I don't know, just amazing feeling.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
Ballet is very magical.
So yeah, right now I'm only focused on ballet and a lot of bar classes, core classes that would like, you know, help me to get through the journey. I know I'm still like in the beginning, only the beginning, and I'm enjoying every like day as it comes. But I know that I am like at that point, I'm giving like 100% of what I can give at that time. And I just enjoy it. And no matter how long it takes to be on point, maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe 5 years, I never know, but I'm enjoying the process.
Well, that's a big part of it. And I imagine having been in school for so many years, 5 years to get on point would seem quite small in comparison with, you know, 12, 13 years to finish your school.
Yeah.
Maybe even longer. Yeah. That's a lot of school.
Maybe longer. And I've seen a lot of like young dancers getting so excited in the classes, and I was asking the instructor, when are we going to be on point? When is this? Like, relax, you're not going to be on point for like another 2-3 years. Depends on your hard work. So let's focus on that first.
One step at a time.
Yeah, exactly.
Your story is just so fascinating, like being in school for so long, and then also you were able to explore your passions throughout your time in school. While you're very focused on that, you also were able to create a second focus on something else that you were really passionate about, which I think is hard when you're so busy with school and with I'm sure what is a very all-consuming process of med school. I'm sure that was very all-consuming, but yet you were still able to find that time to take for yourself for this other passion.
Of course. And it's not easy to be in a foreign country away from home.
Yeah.
And be a student by your own, and just trying to, you know, live day by day and, you know, keep it together. And like, it wasn't an easy journey, to be honest. It was a very challenging one.
I bet.
But I'm still proud of it, and I'm happy that I got the chance to, live it.
Well, they always say anyone interesting has never lived an easy life.
Exactly. Oh, but thank you for calling me interesting.
I mean, I think so many dancers that I speak with struggle with motivation and struggle with pushing through the hardships. But I think from my perspective, what I've heard from you today is that you have already had to work through many hardships leading up to your journey with ballet. And so ballet isn't where you're learning that. You've already learned about the struggle and like going through challenging parts of life. And so when you get to ballet, it's not so hard. Whereas people, if that's sort of their first hard thing they've experienced, they find it to be very overwhelming. If that's the first time they experienced a bump in the road, then it would be very challenging to push through it.
True. That's a really good point. And another point that I want to raise is all these little things that we enjoy through life. Like, we should make time for it, and we should schedule them, because this is what makes us, go through the hardship of life.
Yeah, it's true. If you don't
if there is something exactly, if there is something you enjoy, just create the time for it. And just by doing this every single day, I think life is going to become a lot easier.
Yeah, I mean, you think we all have 24 hours in a day, right? No one has any more or less time in a day. So you can, as you said, create the time for what matters to you. Like, you were in school, you were doing so much stuff, but yet you still, as you said, created the time for the things that matter to you. And that is a huge learning, I think, for people. When we feel like there's no time for something, you have to figure out how to make the time, or else your life's going to pass you by. And then you're at the end of it and you're like, well, I didn't do it. But it's like, well, you got to figure out how to do it.
That's right. Yeah,
you're
absolutely right.
You only get one time through your 30s,
That's absolutely right. And it's never too late,
Yeah.
If you haven't started, you can start now if you want to.
That's right. And you'll always wish that you started sooner. So if you start today, in a year, you'll be glad you started today, versus if you waited another year.
True. That's absolutely true.
Yeah, you're always glad.
I love your dogs, by the way.
They're so funny.
They're
huge. They're huge.
They are. And they are actually not so common here. We usually find them in the desert.
Yeah.
They're usually desert dogs.
Right. They're desert dogs, especially the black one. She's a Spanish Greyhound, so she's a little different than the white one, who's an English Greyhound.
Yeah.
So she's a little bit more closer to a Saluki.
They're super fast, aren't they?
So fast. Where I lived before in Denver, some of our neighbors were from Saudi Arabia. They were here for college, and they were talking about the Salukis who they would see in their area. And do you have Salukis?
Yeah, Salukis. Yes.
And they were talking about this because they thought our dogs were Salukis, so they were talking about the Salukis, and they said they hunt gazelle, and I was like, that's nuts. I didn't know they hunted gazelle. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But she's definitely a hunter.
A hunter. Yeah. We definitely had similar dogs because I volunteer in a dog shelter as well.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. And we had a couple of them, and now they live in a farm with a lot of horses and a donkey and little sheep. So,
they're such sweet dogs. They're so sweet.
Yeah, they're so sweet. Yeah.
Do you find time to work at the university and take ballet and work out and work at and go to the dog shelter? You are just a very busy woman.
Yeah, the dog shelter I only do once a week.
Okay.
I only started it last year, so at about the same time I started ballet.
Mm-hmm.
But everything brings a completely different experience and completely different sensation and emotion. So you need all of these.
Yeah. They make you all a whole person.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Do you have any last words of advice for our listeners who might be listening and thinking, can I do it? Why should I do it? Is it worth it? Any last parting words you want to share with our listeners?
Okay. I think never underestimate yourself. never underestimate your capability, and what you actually can achieve is a lot more than what you think. Just putting the hard work into it, and having a vision of what you want to do or what you want to accomplish, and stay focused with like what you want to do, and just keep going. And usually the line of progress is not a straight line, is usually ups and downs. So just listen to yourself, listen to your body, enjoy the process, and just keep dancing.
I love it. Your story is so awesome. I love just that your connection to music through all of it, and how music can really move and transport us to another land. It's really very cool to be one with the music along this way. Very, very,
exactly.
Very awesome.
Music is the common language.
Yeah.
Of everyone. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think one of the coolest things about ballet is you can do it whatever language you speak. It's the same movement. It's the same movement, no matter who you are and where you're from. It's the same thing.
That's true. Yeah, that's art.
Yeah, it's very neat.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show. This was
You're welcome, Julie. Thank you. I'm honored to be with you, honestly, and I'm so glad I got to share my story with a lot of other ballerinas, and I can't wait for the next surprises you have for us.
It's going to be great.
Yeah.
So much fun.
Cool. Yeah.
Thanks for listening today, dancers. For more adult ballet, you can follow our studio on Instagram and Facebook at Broche Ballet. You can follow me on Instagram at Julie the Ballerina, or check out our blog and YouTube channels for more content. You can even dance with us in our online studio with daily live Zoom classes, private lessons, and our on-demand video library. Don't forget to have your story featured on our podcast. Email us at hello@brocheballet.com. I'm Julie Gill, and this was Broche Banter. Happy dancing!